Okay, welcome to another session in this series. In the previous session, we ended on question number 49. In this session, we start with question number 50. Okay, it says find the product of 243 base 5, then 14 base 5. So we have to multiply, right? Cool. So we have 243 base 5 multiplying 14 base 5. Okay. Let's create a small space over here so we can do our rough work. Okay, we are multiplying. Okay, so now let's start. We have 4 times 3 is what? 12. Okay, 12 in base 5 is what? 2 remainder 2. Okay, that is 12 in base 5. So we write our remainder as the answer here. Then we keep our dividend, which is also 2. This is our dividend and this is our remainder. So our remainder comes here and we keep our dividend to add to the next result. Okay, cool. Let's go. 4 times 4 is what? 16. 16 in base 5 is what? 3 remainder 1. So remember that we have to write out our remainder right here, right? But not forget that we have a dividend that we also need to add, so which is 2 over here. So this 2 multiplies this 1. Sorry, add to the 1. Our remainder here for the next multiplication adds to the previous what? Dividend. So that will give us what? 3. So that will give us 3. Okay, cool. Let's move on. And then now we have a dividend also left, which is 3. That means it will also come and add our result over here. Okay, cool. So now let's go. 4 times 2 is what? 8. 8 in base 5 is what? 8 in base 5 is 1 remainder 3. Cool. So we are supposed to write our remainder here, right? But remember, we have a dividend here, so we have to add it. Okay, so that will give us what? 6. But we can't write 6 over here because we are adding in base 5. So that means you have to change this 6 also into base 5. Okay, so how do you do that? But also keep in mind you have a dividend right here. Okay, so let's go. You still have a dividend on right here, so keep that in mind. So we have 3 plus 3, which is 6. We're supposed to be written over here. We can't write it because it's greater than 5, so it cannot be in base 5. You need to change that to base 5. Okay, so 6 in base 5 give us 1 remainder 1. Okay, so we write this remainder instead. Okay, that will be 1. And then now we have what? Our dividend left. But don't forget, we haven't dealt with this dividend over here. So this dividend and this dividend will also add. Then that will be over here 2. So 1 1, that will be 2. Okay, cool. Now let's move on to the 1. Let's move on to the next. This is very simple because 1 times 3 is what? 3. 1 times 4 4. 1 times 2 2. So we just add. Okay, cool. What's our result? We have 2. 3 plus 3 is what? 6. 6 in base 5 is right here, 1 remainder 1. So we write our 1 and then we keep our dividend. Okay, so 1, and that dividend we'll move on to this side and add. Okay, so 1 plus 1 plus 4 is also 6 again. Okay, and then we know that 6 is 1 remainder 1, so we write our dividend again. We write our remainder again, and we still have a dividend of 1. Then we come here, we add that dividend to this side. 1 plus 2 plus 2 is what? 5. And we know that 5 in base 5 is what? 1 remainder 0. So we write our 0. Then here we don't have anything to add anymore, so we just bring our dividend at the end, which is 1. So that is our answer. 10112. 10112, which is what? D. Okay, cool. So number 50 is 10112, which is D. Cool. Let's go to question number 51. It says evaluate 141 base 6 plus 233 base 6 minus 102 base 6. Okay, cool. So we first add, then subtract. Okay, so we have 141,233 plus. Okay, 1 plus 3 will give us what? 4. 4 plus 3 will give us 7, which is more than 6. Our base is 6, right? So 7 in base 6 will give us 1 remainder 1. So we write our remainder, right? Remainder, then we keep our dividend, which is also 1. Cool. So that's 1 will come and add here. Okay. So 1 plus 1 plus 2 is what? 4. Cool. Alright. So this is our addition. Now let's go to the subtraction. We have 414 minus 102. Also in what? Base 6. So 4 minus 2 in base 6 is what? 2. 1 minus 0, 1. 4 minus 1, 3. So this is our answer, base 6. Which is what? C. Okay? 312, base 6. Cool. Let's move on to question number 52. It says, express 21 as a number in base 2. Very simple, right? So we draw our simple table. We have our remainder here, we have our number here, and we have our base here. Okay? Cool. So 2 into 21, 10 times remainder 1. Because 2 times 10 is 20. 21 minus 20 will give us what? 1. Cool. And then 2 go into 10 again, 5 times remainder 0. Because 2 times 5 is exactly what? 10. So 2 into 5 will give us 2 times carry 1, remainder 1. Okay? Cool. Because 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. Okay? So now 2 goes into 2 how many times? Once. Okay? So 2 into 2 ones, remainder 0. Finally, we have 2 into 1, 0 times remainder 1. So that is our answer. 10101 base 2. That is our answer. What is that? 10101 base 2, which is D. Okay? Cool. Let's move on to our final question in this under this topic, which is question number 53. So it says find the product of 124 base 7 and 23 base 7. Cool. So write our numbers here. 1, 2, 4, 2, 3 base 7. Okay? Multiplying. Cool. Let's put a rough space over here to do our rough work. Okay? So now 4 times 3 is what? 12. What is 12 in base 7? That will give us what? 1 remainder 5. So we write our remainder, right? Then we keep our 1 to add to our next result. Okay? Cool. 3 times 2 is what? 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. Okay? Remember, we have to add our result to what? The remainder, the dividend over here. Okay? So 3 times 2 is what? 6 plus this 1 is what? 7. And 7 in base 7 is what? 1 remainder 0. So we write our remainder and we keep our dividend. Okay? So 0, then we still have our dividend right here. Okay? Cool. So now 3 times 1 is what? 3. But don't forget we have a dividend to add. Okay? So 1 plus this 3 will give us what? 4. So we write 4. Cool. Alright, now we move on to the next part, which is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay? 8 in base 7 is what? 1 remainder 1. So we write our remainder right here. Okay? So that is 1. Cool. Then we keep our dividend. Okay? 2 by 2 is what? 4. Plus this one is what? 5. So we write that 5. You have to keep in mind that whenever we multiply and we get a number that is less than our base, we simply write it. Okay? But if the result of our multiplication is equal to the base or more than the base, that's when we have to convert, because we can't write that number. For example, over here we have 2 times 4 to be 8, which is greater than the base, which is 7. Okay? So we have to convert that into base 7. Cool? Let's move on. Now we have 2 times 2. Don't forget to still have dividend over here. Okay? 2 by 2 is what? No, we don't have a dividend anymore. Sorry, we don't have a dividend anymore. 2 by 2 is what? 2. So you write 2. Cool. So now we add 5, 1. 4 by 9. 4 plus 5 is 9. And 9 in base 7 is 1 remainder 2. So we write our remainder first, then we keep our dividend. Okay? So, and then the dividend will come and then add to this 2, which is what? 3. Cool. So we write 3. and that is our answer, base 7. Okay, base 7. 3, 2, 1, 5, base 7. It is B. Thank you so much for watching this session, and this session brings us to the end of solving the objective questions under the number-based theory. Okay, thank you so much for watching the whole series, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you again next time in the other topics. Bye.